Good morning, City Walkers. We are in Budapest once again. It is 10:30 in the morning and about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius. It's a Saturday, and we are starting off our walk taking you around Fisherman's Bastion, which is on the Buda side of the Danube. And right, we're at the downstream side. There's St. Mark's Cathedral, neo-Gothic cathedral. Of course, the ubiquitous Starbucks, and also this, I would say, early 90s era Hilton. This area is a prime tourist area. Tons of people here normally. We are starting off a little bit early, and it's a little overcast. It's mid-December, and so it's a little bit less crowded. In the summer, this place is a mob scene, from what I understand. I don't really know. I haven't done the research on the Fisherman's Bastion. St. Mark's is named after the St. Matthew, I believe. Matthew the Just, who was I think a 13th or 14th century king. I think his last name was Hiadi. His dad was a general, and Matthew himself was, I think, elected king back in the day when Hungary was one of the top powers in Europe. You have to pay to go into the cathedral, just so you know. And in the summer, it looks like they have these turnstiles, so it looks like you may have to pay to go up on the bastion itself. But since it's the off season, well, we don't have to. We'll go over here and I'll show you the Parliament across the way. You can see that, and to the left is Margaret Bridge and Margaret Island. Do I have that right? Could be Elizabeth. There's St. Stephen's, and off to the right down low is the Chain Bridge. I got here about 20 or 30 minutes ago. I was filming another walk for sort of the reverse of this walk, but without any talking, for Living Walks, another YouTube walking channel that I follow. So keep an eye out for that on his channel. It's a great walking channel. Also, I have several that I follow off to the right on my video page, so that brings up a good point. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And click that little bell to get notified when I drop new videos. I'm filming as much as I can because there's so much great content around here. We just went up to Košice, Slovakia for the night. Well, yesterday we got back, and I filmed a walk up there, so check that out if I haven't already posted already. We'll take you up here on the Bastion. Sounds like somebody's playing the piano. Hopefully it's not too crowded yet. Today I'm going to take you from here over to the palace, which is this grand, giant Habsburg palace. We're not going to go inside, but the outside is pretty impressive. So we'll walk around that, and then if we have time, we'll go down to the Danube through some of the gardens. One of the reasons this place gets crowded, Budapest does, is because it's on the Danube, and there's all these river cruises by Viking, you may have heard of, and others, and they release their guests out onto the city for the day, and this is one of the top places to come, obviously because it's so beautiful up here. So I would recommend coming in the morning or late evening. When they light it up, it's really nice, especially with the Christmas lights. I'm gonna...
I got one that's same next, gotta keep up with me.
You know how to get that?
So the former Jesuit college from the 18th
Oturuyormuş gibi yapın ıslak yerler. Ama arka çok güzel.
century, Dominican monastery. The ruins of that monastery was also converted into the convent. The statue, by the way, it was also erected at the end of the 19th century. At that time, there was a huge reconstruction here on the church and in the surroundings.
I believe what you heard the tour guide saying there was that a lot of this was reconstructed in the end of the 19th century, probably around 1896, which marked the millennium of the Hungarian people being here, or the Magyars. Let's go over to the statue and then we'll head out of this area and over to the labyrinths and the House of Houdini. Give us a comment if you haven't given us a comment. Correct me when I make mistakes. And tell me your personal stories about Budapest. For instance, I was here in the 90s and I got robbed, but otherwise had a great time. I feel it's much safer, much nicer now than they were only a few years out of communist rule, which ended in 1989. And of course they tried to get rid of the Russians in 1956, I think it was, which failed. This is a beautiful cathedral. Sorry, trying to get my camera aligned properly. Doesn't seem to be working quite the way I expected. Up on the right we have Jamie Oliver's Italian restaurant, the British chef. Haven't eaten there, and I probably won't. Not because it's not good, but because I don't know, we've been eating at the Christmas markets and small restaurants. This is a statue to the Hussars, horse soldiers. I haven't been down the street yet. We hired through Airbnb experiences We hired a guy who took us on a small tour and took a bunch of photos of us as a family. It was very affordable. His name was Danielle. If you see him on Airbnb Experiences, he was a really energetic guy, great keeping the kids motivated. Took some great pictures, so check him out. Anyway, he gave us a very lightweight tour of some of the area. It was more for the photos though, but he did a good job. So as I mentioned, we are in the Buda side of the city, and we're within the old walls. From this, I haven't really explored much further over, but it looks like beyond here, it's a much newer part of the city. I could be totally wrong. This itself is one of the ancient parts here for thousands of years. But there's a nice walkway here with some nice views. But we're going to go back in towards the city. Well, I guess the denser, older part. St. Mathews again. I think I'm getting it right. It's Matthew, not Mark. Matthias. If you were following along on the map, we are going to make a right here on Uri Utka, U-R-I. This is apparently one of the oldest buildings. And then off to the left are the labyrinths, or the labyrinthus. Looks like they have a panopticon as well. I haven't paid to go into the actual labyrinth. You go down those steps. Looks like, what does it say? 1,000 meters long, walked in 30 minutes. Vlad Dracul was held in there when they finally got rid of him. He was a ruler in Transylvania back when they were fighting the Ottomans. Coming up on Ter, D-I-S-Z. It's a square. Ter means square. I don't know if that's a person or what that is, but on the right with the Christmas decorations is the House of Houdini, which I think is just a museum dedicated to Harry Houdini, the escape artist, Hungarian American, or Hungarian then American. This is 1849 Zabad Hazert. I'm guessing that has something to do with a rebellion, since there were so many of those in the 1848-49 period. This place at the time was ruled by the Habsburgs out of Vienna in Austria, and it's my understanding there were frequent, or relatively frequent, uprisings. We're coming up on some government buildings. One of these, I believe, is the offices and or residence of the president, and one is of the prime minister. Not entirely sure about that one, but that's what Danielle told us.
Then it would have been there wasn't a lot of coming to.
So there are a lot of ruins or remains of old castles and fortifications up here, and you can walk around and look down into them. I didn't see a whole lot of signage, but I'm sure you could look that up. And I will say that the Buda Castle now is much less of a castle and more of a palace, meant to display wealth and impress people. So what I think we'll do is go around the, well, I would call it the backside or the east side, and then we'll come back around to the front side or riverside and down. Looks like you can get some audio tours, or maybe these are part of another tour. I see a lot of people wearing earpieces. Not sure why people feel the need to share their music with us, though. And seeing this palace and how grand and expansive it is, it's easy to understand why people rose up and tried to find a better way. It's just so much wealth for one family to have, to be centered in one place. But it is beautiful. I'll take you over here because there's this really cool fin de siècle kind of looking building that they're restoring. You can see the roof line pretty easily from here. Looks almost new. Maybe it is new. I have no idea what the purpose of that was or the story. I'll say that I love this sculpture. I remember it from 25 years ago when I was here. Looks like they're hopefully doing some restoration work, cleaning it up. It's a hunting scene. I don't remember the story behind it. This is the benefit of being 6 feet 6 inches or 2 meters tall. Two things I like about it are the hounds and the braided Celtish look of that guy with the horn. Alright, sorry about the spinning. Also like these lions roaring. Excuse me. You can't really take a tour of the palace like you can at the Schönbrunn, I think I'm saying that right, in Vienna, but you can go in and there are a couple different museums in here, and you can buy tickets and go see those. But it is free to walk around on the outside. Some more cool sculptures. More medieval fighters and berated warriors. Pretty fierce. You can see from the people in the frame how big this place is. Up ahead you see a little metal and glass enclosure. That's in the title Buda Vari Ciclo. It's the funicular that you can catch to come up to the top from down at the end of the chain bridge. Now we're going to go to the front side, or the river side of the palace. A lot of the places up on the main tourist area will take euros and give you florins back in change. But the exchange rate is abysmal, so I highly suggest carrying florins with you, or well, not everybody takes credit cards, but those that do, I would suggest using that. Back to the Danube. No idea what this is, but it dates from 1663 to 1736. Savoia Eugen. Assume. I haven't gotten that far in my concise history of Hungary yet. 390 pages of concise history. To be fair, they have been around for thousands of years, so a lot to cover. So there's a couple ways to get up here from the river. One is by the funicular, one is by bus. You can also catch a little electric hop-on, hop-off tram thing for, I think they were offering 5,000 florins for a family of 4. Or you can walk up via this serpentine drive. You can take a set of stairs, There's a series of elevators you can take. So if you're not a big walker, or with someone that's not a big walker, like a kid or a older person, then there are other ways to get up here. Sorry for the pause, I'm waiting for the bigger groups to get off of this narrower walkway. It's kind of neat down here, a chapel of some sort. An older part of the castle. Even has some berries of some sort growing on it. Love the old Gothic style windows. Looks like this girl's scared of pigeons.
Morgen wegen Dom, Karol nicht da.
Dominika.
And right now we're looking at Gellert Hill and the Citadel, and there's a at the top is a big statue with a cafe and a square, and some paths all along the hill which are nice to walk. We're not going to go over there today. We're going to make our way down through the palace grounds to back down to the river. In fact, we're going to end up, I know this doesn't look like it's allowed to come down here, but it is. We're going to end up over by the Central Market, where we ended another walk, the one that I think is going to be titled Vashi Street, or Vazi Utka. You can see some of the old walls and some gardens here. A little tower over there. I think down here is the entrance to the Budapest History Museum. It's kind of neat. There, it looks like the palace, I don't know this for sure, but it looks like the palace was built on top of a more Gothic structure. You can see some of these doors and windows carved stone. I don't know if Gothic is the right word, but much older anyway. We find ourselves on the walkway ramp area. There's that outcropping we walked on about 3 or 4 minutes ago. You can follow this all the way down, or there's another set of stairs, and that's what we're going to take. Now, there's 2 sets of stairs here, and I really don't know what the difference is. I don't know where that one goes, basically, but I do know that this is kind of a cool set of stairs along this pathway here. And we'll go down a little ways, and then I'll turn around and show you the palace again. You can see why this would be a good place to have a castle or a palace. It's way up here. And the view of the river, upstream and downstream, is pretty strategically valuable. You can see some of the gardens down there. And under this rusty roof is a escalator that you can take up. You have to take the stairs down, but there is an escalator operating that leads up. And now that I think about it, I think I said that we were going to end up over by the Central Market, but I'm going to go a different direction. And we're going to end up at the base of the chain bridge. Partly because it's closer, and partly because that walkway is a little nicer visually for your entertainment. Now, here's a little bit of information that is incredibly valuable, has been twice for us. Right here is a set of toilets that does cost 200 forints to use, or about 60 cents. But if you've been walking around drinking hot wine or hot coffee or hot cocoa, it's right over there. And you can go down a level, and there's another set as well. That's pretty nice to find. So this is called the bazaar area, and it's a cafe and restaurant as well. We are on Antahaz Utka, and that's how you spell it. We're coming down into what I think is called Clark Adam Circle or Clark Adam Square. You can come down, you can go up the way we went, or off to the left is a ramp. That's actually how I got up to the palace when I was, to start off the film I did for Living Walk. I mentioned that at the beginning. It's also, down here is the base of the funicular, which I'll show you in a second. And you'll see a lot of people in blue jackets and red jackets selling the tickets for the little, call it the castle bus or castle shuttle. So you can tell by the number of blue and red jackets the number of people that must be down here buying tickets. We have these fun electric scooter tours around. Over to the right I saw a Segway tour running. Okay, and this is the tunnel, which is the exact same length as the chain bridge. Goes underneath the palace, or not the palace, between the palace and the Fisherman's Bastion. You can see the tracks for the funicular. You can see people walking up the pathway. There's the Euro Huff ATM. Highly recommend against using those. They just have horrendous exchange rates. And see the line for the funicular. And here's the circle, the chain bridge, sorry. And off to the left, this brown circular building is the Clark Adam Hotel. Relatively new, as you might guess. And I'm going to take you down here and show you one of these little hop-on shuttles. You can see one over there, one of the blue ones. Official Budapest Castle bus. The other is the official Budapest Castle shuttle. So, very official. One of the things I like about them is that they are electric. So they're not spewing out a bunch of exhaust like the big hop-on, hop-off buses. Apparently they run every 10 to 15 minutes and have several different stops. And so it might be a good option, to take if you're not wanting to put in the steps and altitude. So this is the Sechenyi Lancid Bridge. There's no way I'm going to be able to pronounce that correctly. Across the Budapest. I think we're at 50 minutes right now on this walk, so I'm going to call it for this one. But thank you for joining me here in Budapest from the Fisherman's Bastion over to the Buda Palace and a few other sites along the way. Hope you enjoyed it. Please leave us a comment and subscribe. Like if you liked it. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit the bell if you're going to subscribe, because that'll give you notifications. Come back next time. We're going to be doing some more Budapest walks here, and I hope you'll enjoy those. Check out our other videos as well. Got a lot of stuff from Europe, a few from Central America, and quite a few from the Rocky Mountain West. In the meantime, happy walking and take care.